The Rookie of the Year is a title passed down through 77 years of history in the NBA. One of the longest standing honours and traditions given to those who stand above their class and hold the prospects of the league's future in their hands. But among these single season campaigns, whose Rookie of the Year stands atop the mountain? Today, we rank every Rookie of the Year ever. Quickly, the criteria for rankings are their stats, simply how good they were, then their team impact. The bottom tier is for the niggas who were not hooping. They didn't win the award because they were nice. They just walked up on stage and took it out of the commissioner's hands like Kanye. They might not even be in the league. It might just be an elaborate plot to steal some gold like Arsene Lupin. This category includes William Melchioni, Bill Tosef and Mel Hutchins, Monk Meniki, Woody Salisbury, Tom Heinsohn, Jamal Wilkes, Raymond Felix, Ernie De Gregorio, Malcolm Brogdon, Paul Aronson, Alex Groza, Emeka Okafor, Jeff Petrie and David Coens, Jerry Lucas, Maurice Stokes, Mike Miller, Michael Carter-Williams, Andrew Wiggins, Daryl Griffiths, Dave Bing. The lowest field goal percentage here is 32.7 and the lowest points per game is 9.2. And these niggas were the best of their class. But what can you really expect? It's basically a gaggle of niggas from before backboards were invented. And Malcolm Brogdon, who was not so slightly cheeks. He put up basically the same stats as Lonzo Ball, who was getting generationally roasted. Chuck called him a triple single, Pat Bev pressed him out the half court, his aura had LeBron trade him immediately. But Malcolm Brogdon got the award. Say none. Tier 2. This is where we start hooping. We'll call this the We Can Ball a Bit section. This includes Amari Stoudemire, Derek Coleman, Phil Ford, Grant Hill and Jason Kidd, Bob McAdoo, Adrian Dantley, Brandon Roy, Damian Lillard, Kevin Durant. These are people you more or less know. They've 100% been in a dunk compilation, a mixtape, or a meme at some point. But they were hooping out the gates, I guess. I mean, you had Grant Hill cooking Jason Kidd in almost every category, but ended up tying because Kidd won more games with more help. I didn't know jumping a nigga got you the award, but The only other shock is Dame and KD, who despite being an all-time great, and Damian Lillard, are only really this low because their rookie efficiencies were in the mud. I don't care who you are, I'm not about to praise you for shooting 43% from the field. You ever see a fire teaser poster but then the rest of the main movie is just straight prolapsed ass cheeks? That's what this category is. The niggas that were cold as hell but had clear flaws, be it defense, efficiency, or not being a rookie. Mitch Richmond, Scotty Barnes, Karl Anthony Towns, Paolo Banchero, Derrick Rose, Chuck Pearsons, Pau Gasol, Larry Johnson, Tyreek Evans, LaMelo Ball, Damon Stoudemire, Elton Brand and Steve Francis, Ja Morant, Vince Carter, Kyrie Irving, Blake Griffin. Most of these niggas were clearly the best in their class, but they definitely had some hating ass niggas in the back, stealing votes and creating agendas. Ja Morant was one vote away from being a unanimous Rookie of the Year, but one hating ass nigga voted against him for the brother that played 24 games. His rookie highlight consisted of him watching games like a regular fan. Him and the Insta baddies had the same seat. LaMelo Ball was one of the most hyped prospects of the decade, but him missing 20 games was enough for agendas to start cooking like the most malevolent of kitchens. Scotty Barnes played for Toronto, nuff said, but they all came out the other end more or less. We called these ones the game changers. We were looking at them like they were the future of the league, regardless of what they actually became. You know who you are. Ben Simmons, Chris Paul, Mark Jackson, Allen Iverson, Buck Williams, Walter Davis, Terry Cummings, Luka Doncic, Ralph Sampson, Alvan Adams, Sidney Wicks, Terry DeShinger, El Monroe, Willis Reed, Rick Barry. These are the people we expected to be nice, but left us jaw dropped at how they were cooking the league. A lot of them individually are close to each other in ability, but their impact on their teams and honestly personal bias led them to be ranked how they are. Their actual differences are minuscule, like Chris Paul who averaged 8 assists with 2 turnovers and improved his team by 20 wins. Or how we get Buck Williams higher than the player who revolutionized basketball forever. AI was basically throwing the ball at the rim and praying it went through. Inefficient as hell. Terry Cummings, improved by 7 wins next to a washed Bill Walton and Michael Brooks. Mark Jackson is the only rookie to ever average 10 plus assists. There was even a time we thought Ben Simmons was the next LeBron. The times when his only flaw was his experience. Remember the days of if you got a jump shot ass conversations? How soon we forget. They were all stars and the gap between them is mostly personal preference. These are the real move makers. Came in and were instantly some of the best on the planet. Real let your nuts hang type shit. Patrick Ewing, Chris Webber, Bob Pettit, Wes Unseld, Elgin Baylor. I really only cut it off here for a dramatic top 10 reveal, but we know who these people are. Patrick Ewing had a shoe niggas fucked with for about 20 days. Chris Webber is in every dunking highlight. The only real standouts here are the old nigga duo of Bob Pettit and Elgin Baylor, who despite playing segregation balls were putting up all-time numbers with Bob's 21, 14 and 3 and Elgin's 25, 14 and 4. Probably all-time trash talk too. Imagine Elgin puts up a layup over Bob and he starts charging up a slur like an ultimate attack, have the whole white hooded hoodlums posted by the bus like the Akatsuki. But moving on. Number 10, Shaquille O'Neal. While he wasn't the defensive dynamo he would later become, he still came into an era filled with big men like Patrick Ewing, Brad Daughtry, Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson and more, matching up with them night in and night out to average 23 and 14 with 4 blocks on 56% from the field. That's why his feet look like that. They were tired from banging with big men every night. His only flaws were his experience and passing. Even though centers aren't expected to pass, this didn't stop players like number 9, Larry Bird, who despite being unathletic, white and a power forward, contributed in almost every aspect on the floor, scoring 21 points, averaging 10 rebounds at 6'9" and 5 assists. On top of that, we can credit him for founding the shooting white boy archetype, shooting 36% from 3 before stretch point guards were even a thing. Him being so far ahead of the game led him and his team to improving by 30 wins. That and having Cedric Maxwell, Dave Cowens, Tiny Archibald and Pistol Pete as a mentor, but he definitely spearheaded their improvement, coming in as one of the most well-rounded rookies ever. The type of player to transcend errors, like his superior number 8, Walt Bellamy, who averaged 19 rebounds. In any era, that's elite. Furthermore, he added a casual 32 points on 52% field goal. Yeah, the 2 highlights he has out are in 44p, but I know it was all hustle points, straight offensive rebounds and putbacks. He was scared of anything outside of 2 feet like a certain current player, but while he didn't have the technology we have today to track otherworldly stats, like counting blocks, he 100% averaged over 2. Plus the 3 assists as a center, back then that was heresy. So if they could see what a 6'8" kid from Akron would do as a rookie, they would burn him at a stake. LeBron wouldn't rebound to the effect of Bellamy, but he would be 11th in guard rebounds, that's 85th total, 15th in total assists, and 15th in points, all in year 1. Coming in and Lil Broing half the league doesn't just happen willy-nilly, and while we've seen what he turned into, in 04, taking the Cavs roster, who were legitimately beefing with a child, to 1 game out of the playoffs and doubling their wins is unbelievable. It looked like Coach Carter was running the team how much better they got. And while we thought he'd never be replicated, he also set the mold for new NBA players, the Ben Simmons, LaMelo Balls and Josh Giddys. Meanwhile, only one other person has replicated what the original Mr. Triple-Double himself could do, and honestly, he didn't do it as well. So number 6 is Oscar Robertson. Imagine coming in and being 0.3 assists away from averaging a triple-double. Then imagine coming in and adding 31 points and 10 rebounds on 47% from the field. And all this culminating in his team improving by 14 wins, all at 6'5". He was an all-star and an assist leader all in his first season. There's a reason people like LeBron, despite having more advantages, can't replicate this. This is a once-in-a-lifetime display. It's like when number 5, Tim Duncan, came in as one of the best defenders in the most defensive era. He finished 5th in total blocks, made an all-defensive second team, made an all-NBA team, finished 5th in MVP votings as a 19-year-old. The experienced vets were getting cooked. This was some shit they've never seen before, and it wasn't just his defense. He was 15th in scoring, whilst having the second highest true shooting amongst the 15 scorers. He didn't slow down in playoffs either and led them to the semi-finals. He only stopped there because that's when number 4, Michael Jordan, owned the league. And honestly, he'd been doing that since he came in. Team USA coach Bobby Knight called him the GOAT before he was even on a roster. I don't know if that's tier 1 prediction or dick suck. At the time, we knew he was a scorer, but even for all the Michael isn't a passer talk, he averaged 28, 6 and 6 on 52% from the field, and he was passing to crackheads and Charles Oakley. Then we saw in the documentary how Mike purely willed them to the playoffs. The first time he took that shit personal. Brings a tear to my eye, I swear. All for them to fail in the first round and make sure that we missed out on a Michael Jordan Patrick Ewing combo. Truly generational. Now for the finalists. Number 3, David Robinson. This is his get back for Tim coming in and taking over his team. He had to remind him, as a rookie, he had that shit patterned. He was on the all-defensive team before Tim, he had more blocks per game than Tim, he had over 100 more total blocks than him, he grabbed more rebounds than him, he averaged more points than him, he beat up more niggas than him, he did everything better. He even took his team to the conference finals and lost in 7 when Tim lost in 6 earlier. Robinson came in and might have been the best protector in the league. He even finished 6th in MVP voting. The only people with better stats is a legitimate myth, leading to number 2, Wilt Chamberlain. The only people that have seen a wild Wilt Chamberlain were the 20,000 women he was inside of. He would average 38 and 27, then vanish like the Avatar before post-game interviews. They actually did track blocks, but Wilt got so many that they couldn't count them all. He only averaged 2 assists because his passes were so powerful that his teammates' hands were trembling upon contact. He never actually missed any shots. He would just self alley-oop sometimes, and they'd count the first throw as a miss. Wilt Chamberlain was so good that we don't know if he actually existed, and that only means that the best rookie of the year has to go to the one we actually know. Number 1. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar may seriously be the greatest basketball player ever, not just NBA, as even his tenure in college resulted in accolades and awards. But for the time people actually care about, he started off averaging 29 points, 14.5 rebounds, and 4 assists on 52% from the field. Analysing his size, athleticism, and future stats, he probably averaged around 3 blocks and a steal. But his most impressive aspect is his impact, a 29-game improvement. The 5th highest single-season turnaround in NBA history, facilitated by a rookie. Bear in mind, the Bucks had only been around for 1 season prior, so there was no established core, there was no team consistency, just straight skyhooks and glory leading them to the division finals. Then he stepped up even more in the playoffs, averaging 35, 17, and 4, but I'm not including the playoffs. Just know Kareem is the poster child for a perfect career, and has 100% lived up to every expectation set upon him, from the greatest college player ever to arguably the greatest NBA player ever. But is he the greatest number 1 pick? If you want to know, click this video here. If you like the video, like the video. If you don't, don't. Subscribe if you want, and I'm done. Okay, bye.